Welcome back to the Thanks for Rolling podcast. We are here at the studio at 10th Planet Springfield. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff. As always, I am here with Pat.
What's up, Jeff?
How are you?
Doing well.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Pat, we have a cool guest, plus a guest to be revealed later in the house.
Yeah, we have Mike Hibert in the studio. What's up, Mike?
How's it going, guys? Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Party time's tomorrow, so get some rolls in tonight.
That's right. Yeah, as you said, the last roll of 2021.
Yeah, sent out a message to our group today trying to encourage everyone to get here for the last training of 2021.
So thanks for coming out.
Yeah, no problem. It's not too bad of a drive for me.
Yes,
it's under an hour from Worcester, so.
Do you train in Worcester too?
I train kind of all over. So I'm with Gracie Baja, so we have a few gyms throughout the Central Mass, Eastern Mass area.
Yep. Okay. All right. Oh, I meant to ask you that last time you were in, and I forgot.
Yeah.
So Mike is here. We will be joined by Nick in a little bit, and we'll get into talking about RCS Promotions.
Yes.
And but let's talk about you first.
Cool.
One of the things that we always like to do is kind of get a sense for, how our guests kind of got into jiu-jitsu, right? Like, how do we end up here? Because everybody's got kind of their own back-ass story that ends up, on the mat someplace. So
especially when you're a little older, too. You get into it a little later in life.
Yes.
And yeah.
You talking about me, dude?
All of us, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, how'd you get started?
So I cut trees, went to college and, did athletics in college and graduated during kind of the height of this recession. So I cut trees through college and I just kind of continued. And then I finally got an office job and I was getting fat. And I knew I had done track and field in college. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't lifting weights. I wasn't getting on an elliptical or treadmill. I was done with that, And so I just walked into a gym one day, Gracie Baja, and met Samuel Braga, who I didn't know at the time was like an 8 or 9-time world champion, and really was just kind of at the end of his competitive career, and super nice guy. And I was hooked day one. He was like, "So what do you think?" And I was like, "Sign me up." He's like, "Well, we can do, free 2 weeks." No, sign me up. Let's go. And been hooked ever since.
It's funny how it's a certain type of people, right? Like either you're okay with it or you're not.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Walked in, I took my free class, and I think I paid up front for 3 months on the first day.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. It was like, hey, I drug my feet for a little while to get started training, and like once I'm making this effort to walk in, I'm just sticking with it.
Yeah.
Or it's just going to go back to pushing it off and eventually not doing it.
Right. For me, that a lot of things translated over from previous, work or athletics I had done in life. So it was kind of a seamless transition. Did
you have wrestling or grappling background before, or
no?
Any martial arts?
No, nothing. Climbing trees though, so yeah, a lot of grip strength.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah.
You see this crazy dude on Instagram climbing trees every day?
No.
Yeah, not every day.
I see you on Instagram, but I don't see you
climbing
climbing trees. I should say
not as much as I used to. Luckily.
Yeah. So that's what you do full time, right? So talk about your business.
I'm basically self-employed. So I do a lot of logging in the winter months. Timber harvesting, and then in the summer months I do more arborist work. I try to stick to fine pruning. I'm not really into the removal business anymore. It's a lot of overhead, a lot of big equipment.
Yep.
But I do pretty well. Pruning and estate maintenance and a lot of fine tree care.
So now we know who to call.
Yes.
I have lots of not fine trees I need cared for.
Well, I tell people all the time, I can put any tree you want on the ground. I can't tell you I can haul it out of there.
Yeah.
But I can get it on the ground for you. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's where the skill comes into play.
Yeah.
So we're going to wait to get deep into RCS until Nick gets here, but
I think that's a good idea because it's his
baby.
It's his baby, right? Right.
How did you and Nick get hooked up in the first place?
Oh man. So Nick did his first event about a year ago, Mansa-Leone, and I was a short notice replacement in the co-main event. I think I was like 4 days notice, And then we had like a freak snowstorm that day, and I basically parked my plow truck out front of the venue, ran in, grappled the kid, and then pretty much took off after that. And I just, from there on, Nick was like, okay, this guy's down, because everyone was pulling out or, you know, scared of who they were facing, and it was kind of hush-hush underground in the height of the pandemic. So, yeah, I guess I just kind of won his respect there, and I started doing commentating as well as continued to compete. And then I was reffing some small events, and then I did the announcing for his kickboxing. And then he was like, dude, I'm doing this big pay-per-view. I need you to come together with me, like as a partner. So
he's doing a little bit of everything then.
Yeah, because he, you know, if he could do it all, it'd be great, because he's really good and he's really dedicated, but he can't do it all. So he needs someone to shove responsibility off onto. And luckily, I have my own income and job, and I don't necessarily need a bunch of immediate income to pay my rent. So we're able to work out a good deal together.
Yeah. Did I see you doing some of this car wrestling?
Yes. So me and the Allen wrench. Again, kind of during the pandemic, there wasn't much going on, and he had this crazy idea. He wanted to do a car match, and I kind of had an old junker at the time. So I said, all right. I drove out to Boston. I picked him up, and we did best 2 or 3 in the gi in the car. And he beat me both times. I think he heel hooked me once, and then he caught me in a Kimura outside of the driver's side window, which was fun. But I think applicable in a self-defense situation, if you ever are in a struggle for your life in a car, I mean, I think I have a leg up now.
Yeah, now you know what to do, right.
Because I was talking about that idea with a couple of guys last night, because I've been seeing a lot of videos popping up.
It's like coming up in
becoming
Russia
a thing.
And Poland and thing,
And I'm like, I swear I saw a video a while ago of Mike doing that.
Yeah.
I was talking to Ryan Santiago, and he's like, not a chance. I'm not doing that. I'm like, I think it sounds kind of cool.
Now I know how to challenge Ryan.
Right.
It's like one of the guys I train with the most. I'm always looking for angles where
Take it to the car.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fun. It was a lot more fun than I thought. So
well, it's like any of that confined space grappling, fighting. It completely changes the playing field from being on an open mat.
Yeah. There's some guys here that you could pin down with, put them in the car, make it a little easier to roll with them. For sure.
Yeah.
So do you train mostly in the gi?
I did pretty much up until a year ago. And then, you know, as I started competing in all these events, I was just drawn to the no-gi game. I see a lot of parallels. I don't see a lot of differences between the two, just small adjustments. Very, detail-oriented. I see it's all about details and inches in the gi, but that's very similar with something like leg locks also. So I try to look at them as parallels, not two different things.
Yeah.
I like that outlook. People get too hung up on the differences between them.
Yeah.
And, people will say, the gi is more technical, more details, but it's just different.
It's just different details.
Details.
Different technique. I think people get hung up in general on rule sets, when it comes to competition. Right. It's like, unfortunately, there's no unified rule set. That's one thing I hate about jiu-jitsu, but just go out there and roll, man. Don't blame the rule set. Don't bitch about it. We're all just out to compete and get better, really.
Yeah. Yeah, if you sign up for something and lose because of that rule set, you can't bitch about that rule set.
Right.
You knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, exactly.
So I started in the gi, trained for years in the gi. And then when I came to 10th Planet, I was like, shit, I don't have anything to grab hold of, right? It totally screwed me up. But it got in my head for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how to smash these guys without holding on to their gi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it legit stalled my progress for a while because I was trying so hard to translate that to this, So it took me a while to just be like, okay, you don't have anything to grab hold of. That's fine.
Right.
And it probably wasn't until the last year. So I've been here about 2 years, second half of my time here that I was like, all right, we'll just do what we got to do without having to worry about
You have a whole person in front of you to grab.
Yeah. I know.
Right.
I know.
Right.
But when I can't grab their neck like this, right? It's a different
right.
thing.
Or those lapel grips, really strong, really powerful control wise.
Yeah.
Or the pants when you're passing.
Pants,
Yeah,
Controlling those legs.
So that was it. It was the lapel grips, because I worked a whole game set off of the lapel grips and lapel chokes and pinning the legs by grabbing their pants. So I've none of that, right? It just like took me a while to get that out of my system, right? To not just forget about that being part of the game.
Yeah.
So almost like reinventing that part of it from the start.
Yep.
So yeah. So do you compete a lot?
I try to. You know, I definitely get to compete more in the winter as work kind of slows down.
Yeah.
In the summer, I hate to commit to it, and then something comes up, and then it's kind of a pain. It's happened before. You know, you have travel plans, and then something work related comes up, you can't do it. So, definitely more active in the winter.
Yeah. So you just recently competed at.
I did
top level, right?
just did top level, yeah. So that was interesting. I wanted to see kind of, how that event, how the feel was and the vibe, and I think they're definitely improving, with each show. So that was kind of cool to see, and definitely really focused around the competitors, which is nice.
Yeah.
Working through some growing pains.
But I heard the same thing. Our guys that were at that last one reported back that there was much improvement from the first event.
Good. I mean, that's what you got to do, right?
So we were at the last one was their third, right?
Oh, I'm not even sure.
I think it was. But we were at the first. I think we didn't have anybody in the second one. Then we had Bill in the third one, and the guys reported back that it was a pretty good show this time around.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, that's all you can really ask is that they're improving. And
I still have a bone to pick with the boxing ring without the ropes and the loose canvas.
Yeah, they have to figure out, I think, a matting situation because the way the canvas is, it's cloth and the sweat soaks in. I was, maybe 8th or 9th match, and it was already pretty gross, and they had another 20 to go.
It like balls up like a rug.
Yeah,
dude.
And so you right, kind of like balling up cloth, and then you imagine with everyone's sweat, So I mean, but again, they're constantly improving, so hopefully they continue to take the constructive criticism.
Yeah, I'd rather have the mats on the floor and figure out how to elevate the seating. Right. That's usually why they put them on a stage, because everyone can see better. But just put the mats down low and then do stadium seating so everyone can see.
Yeah.
Which they did have when we were in the event, the location in Connecticut, whatever that place is
Yeah,
called.
they had some bleachers.
Some bleacher style seating there. It wasn't super high, but they could have been elevated.
Yeah.
Because I think when you were sitting at the lowest level of those bleachers, you couldn't see into the ring anyway. So,
Yep.
But yeah. I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about what makes good shows, but we'll get into that when Nick gets here. So pick both your brains at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Speaking of,
He just messaged. He is 6 minutes out.
Oh, good.
So while we got you here, since you were shitting on my Craftsman axe the last time, what is the kind of axe would you like somebody to have on their podcast table?
I have a Holtzberg. It's a I believe it's a Swedish made axe.
Goes well with your Husqvarna.
Yes, my Husky. And I have a Chinese steel clone.
Nice.
But I don't really chop with the axe, but you do a lot of smashing with the wedges. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a hammer than anything.
Yep.
we'll have to upgrade.
I don't know what my other
I can
axes at
send you
home
the
are.
link if you're interested in like $140 axe. I mean, I can send you where
I'm
it
always
is.
into nice tools.
Yeah, it is funny because every once in a while we'll start talking about like knives or axes. I sent him, somebody had posted something about with a hatchet, and it was, I think they were calling it a tomahawk, but it was like an $800 tomahawk.
Wow.
I was like, I want this.
Kind of something for throwing.
It was like,
I
I think it was like a paramilitary
okay.
thing. Yeah.
I think you save it for when you might need to smash somebody's skull in if it were to happen.
Yeah, I see.
That goes in the go bag. Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, where you guys are out here, you just go barn hunting. You can find, I'm sure, a lot of good old axes. That's the ones I used to look for before I dropped the money on a real nice one. It's just something old. Always holds up better.
Like one that somebody's just left behind.
Yeah, something from, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, just been sitting in someone's barn for 30 years.
Yeah, I'm always looking around when we hit the flea markets and whatnot. I like
exactly.
old cutting tools, axes, blades, knives, saws.
So what makes a good axe?
The head doesn't come off. That's the worst part is when you're swinging it and this comes
See how many
off.
wedges are in that one?
Yeah, right. So really, it comes down to the handle being made out of good wood.
Just so the cameras can see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here, right?
This came from my wife's uncle. And that's why I had Adam engrave this one, because the head was already loose and coming off, and I have another axe at home that does not have the head coming off. So I'm like, well, I'll give the artist the one that I can't use.
Yes. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, we can just leave it on the table as a weapon.
Yeah, I could have rehandled it, but I don't quite have that skill mastered yet.
You put it up on the wall.
Yeah.
Just put a nail in and a nail in it.
Yeah,
Just
that was the
sits.
plan.
Yeah, we'll mount that at some point. So what other blades?
I like blades of all sorts.
Yeah.
Small blades, big blades.
I just texted him the other day. Like, do you have a good folder that you like? Such a stupid obsession of things, right? But it's fun to have them. Yeah.
So you got the farm. What are you running out there on the farm for saws?
I have a Husky 562. That's my go-to.
That's a good one.
Yeah, my father-in-law convinced me to buy it. He had an old, I think it was 262.
Mm-hmm.
He's had for like 20 years. Dropped it in the lake, still runs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I dropped down. It was $700-800 on it when we moved to this house.
Is the 562 XP?
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. So I have the same saw. It's ported and carved out and everything. So it's pretty badass. But it is the same saw. Yeah, it's a great saw.
It's nice. It's reliable. Starts every time.
Yeah.
I got a 20-inch bar on it. Goes through everything I need it to.
Mm-hmm. And it's still pretty light too. So that's a good.
Yeah,
good
I have a
thing
little.
like about it.
I forget which model, but I have like a 13-inch steel that I use for the smaller pruning.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold the big one over my head.
Right. No, I dropped almost, probably I'd say 90% of the trees I cut for timber, I cut with that 562, just because I don't want to lug around the big saw.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. I enjoy, we burn wood all winter long, so
Nice.
spend the warm season cutting the wood to burn it during the cold season.
Warms you twice, they say.
It's more like 4 or 5 times.
Right.
Isn't that what the kids are for? Stacking it for you?
Yeah, right.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
I have no chainsaw. I have no need for it though, so I can't really. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't want one. Don't get me wrong.
Just get one.
Yeah.
I don't have a video camera, so.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Right.
We're even.
Usually when Pat buys something, I'm like, shit, I wanted that, and now I have to go buy it. But that happened to something recently we got. I don't remember now what it was.
It's always something.
It's always something. He's like, oh, I got this. I'm like, shit. Now I want
Keep
that.
up.
I know. Yeah. We measure ourselves.
Well, I spent.
Is it like that with rash guards too?
Oh, yeah.
In the gym, everyone's got to have the new rashies on. See, I come from, you got to wear your team at all times at Gracie Baja, so there's no mix and matching or any fashion or whatever. So I kind of always curious how
we're
that
the
goes
extreme
down.
opposite.
Yeah.
When I was at Connors, it would be gis, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, you got a fresh new gi on. Must have been someone's birthday or Christmas or whatever it was, right? Someone rocking something.
Gis are expensive too.
Yeah. I have a bunch of, closet full gis I don't wear ever. Like, even when we roll once in a blue moon, we'll throw them on here. It's like the same one that I break out every time. But yeah, rash guards and shorts here. Right away when someone's like, oh, I got a new rashi on, I see, huh?
Okay.
Yep. Or as soon as someone walks in, you're like, oh, is that new? I didn't see you wear that before.
Yeah, there's like a few brands that get really popular, so everyone starts buying those.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So right now we're trying to get everyone on the rubber bones train.
Yes.
That's right. Got a couple rubber bones.
I hit them up, I think last week. We're going to come together. They're going to do a chainsaw rash guard design for me. I'm going to order a bunch of them. And I'm super excited. I was like, I want blood and guts and chainsaws.
Yes,
and trees
that's right
and
up her alley.
Everything. And they're
awesome.
just like, yes, awesome. Done.
Yeah. She likes the blood and guts. So
Yeah,
that's awesome. That'd be very cool. That we got a lot of
Supernatural survival gear.
Supernatural survival gear.
Popular one.
Yep. You do some work with Origins. They've been showing up a bunch. Then there's a bunch of randoms.
Yeah, everyone hits are you on the BJJ HQ rolling deals?
No, I'm not.
We have a bunch of guys that hit those up. So it's like a daily deals type of thing.
Right. It was 20% off or whatever.
They'll do a lot of rash guards for like $30, $35.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
2-for-1s.
Yeah.
I do a lot of, actually, Kalani, she's up at training out of Mau. Really, really good young competitor, and she does custom rash guards for like, I think $50.
Oh shit, that's
design
good.
and everything. So I think I've gotten 2 or 3 from her now. I'll have to get you guys her her Instagram.
All right, guys. So I told everybody we had a second half of our special guests.
Surprise, surprise.
Showing up here, right? Mr. RCS. Nick, thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you making the long drive out.
Oh, always.
Yeah. So we were just talking about kind of the jiu-jitsu journey that your friend here has been on, how you guys met. Yep. And so we want to get into RCS in general, but kind of how did you get started? So you did some fighting first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk about your background.
So like when I was coming up, smokers were like super common. So I used to do smokers the way people do like jiu-jitsu competitions, but it was mainly because it was free. Like I was super broke. So like that was really all there was. And I just kind of met a lot of MMA guys through that. So I had a couple Muay Thai fights, did some MMA, nothing big, but like I really wanted to do jiu-jitsu. I just couldn't afford it. Like I knew it was my weak link, but it was so expensive. So eventually I hooked up with Triforce and excuse me. I hooked up with Triforce and I noticed like when I put the gi on, I was able to like actually learn jiu-jitsu. It wasn't just like crazy free-for-all grappling. I was learning the art of jiu-jitsu. So I knew I wanted to focus more on that, but it was just like I didn't really know where to go or where to start. Like people were telling me like, oh, I'm getting ready for pans. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like I had no clue. So.
What time frame was this?
Wow. I started in 2008. I had my first fight. So right around then.
Okay.
But yeah, so just kind of from there.
So did you have formal Muay Thai training or like striking training? Or?
So I got my black belt in Kempo at like 16 or so, like nothing crazy, but my first fight was for Manny Neves, and like I didn't even know what it was, to be honest with you. Like I was told I was gonna have an MMA fight at 135. I had no ground game whatsoever. I was like, it like in 2008 there was no MMA gyms. It wasn't like a thing really. Like it was like Manny Neves had a gym, but it was like still like styles. Like nobody was really training like that. So I agreed to do it. I was like, yeah, it'll be like a karate tournament. And like I dropped into this dude's gym to like, you know, check in with the promoter and be like, hey, so like, what's up? Like, what are the details on this? And he's like, looking me up and down. He's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 15. I'm going to be 16 by the fight though. He's like, don't tell anybody that. Like, don't say that. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, how long have you been doing this? I was like, you know, a long time, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but like fighting though. I was like, oh, I've done plenty of tournaments. And he's like, all right, well, like you have a Muay Thai fight. This kid's good. He's about to go pro. Like, you know, his name's Sean Marmus. He's a good kid. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But like, I actually like got to the fight and I'm like, oh my God, this is a grown man. Like I was a child. It was a grown man in front of me. And like, he like cut weight. I was like, I couldn't like make 45. That was a problem for me. Like it was like the week after Thanksgiving. So I'm like eating sandwiches on the way to weigh-ins, just doing everything wrong, just everything wrong. Like absolutely everything wrong. So like, I think that's kind of like my journey is like, I went from knowing nothing and just like jumping right into it to like learning how to train over the years. Like I didn't have like the traditional route where people come in and they're like, oh no, like you're my student and I'll bring you up. Like I just I was so broke. I just jumped into it. I would take any fight. I was the worst. When I first started, I was that guy, like basketball shorts and like a wife beater and like ready to go. I was that dude.
I think in that era though, wasn't very uncommon.
Like, no, because like you would go to Triforce and it would be like just guys in basketball shorts going to war. It was like nobody knew any better. It was just chaos.
Yeah. We said earlier, like, you either got it or you don't, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, that's something in you that you know, are able to do that. Same thing with jiu-jitsu, right? Like we were just saying, like Mike said, hey, I started like the first day I was like, all right, sign me up. I'm good. Right. You just know you're right there. So, what was the outcome of the first fight?
I got knocked out in the second round, but I did land the big boot like the Undertaker. So I mean that was cool. But like I was doing well. The problem was I didn't know how to clinch, and it was a Muay Thai fight, and also he was a grown man. So like I was doing like downward blocks. He's like going to like kick me, and I'm like no, and like I go to like strike off of it, and like it worked a couple of times to be honest with you. But like it was just at the end of the day, he was just bigger, better, more. You know, he put me in the clinch, put me up against the cage, and I was like,
I'm gonna die.
There's no like I can't go backwards. I train on ropes. There's no ropes. Like it messed me all up. But yeah, it was a good experience. Like afterwards, my first fight was his last amateur fight. So it was like, you know, I knew what happened. I kind of got like fed to the lions, but it was a good experience overall. Like, it wasn't like I left like bitter. I was like, oh, I got to get better at this. This is something cool. Like, there's something to this.
Yeah. After an experience like that, it's either going to motivate you to really figure it out, or it's going to
demoralize
stop you dead in
entirely.
your tracks right there.
Yeah. I feel like you're lucky it happened when you were young and dumb enough.
Well, yeah, dude, what was worse too was like I had like a support system there. They were like, "You did good, Nicky," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." Like, I went to school, dude. I was like a legend. It was like nobody in school had a cage fight. You know what I mean? I was like a junior in high school. I could grow just like the littlest beard, and I had a cage fight. I was the man. It was terrible. It was just the worst for my ego. But
That's awesome.
it's so bad.
So if we fast forward, I don't know how many years we'll fast forward, right, to you starting to do more, I'll call it promotion work, because you've done a bunch of different stuff, right? I did my research, my homework, but didn't immediately start with RCS, right, or even New England, right? So
No,
give us a little bit of the history there outside of the fights.
So I trained at Jackson Wink for a while, and there was a lot of in-house stuff there. That was kind of the main thing that like I noticed about being out west was like things are so far away. Guys don't really like. It's like a 6-hour trip to Denver. You got to go to like, local spots to do like in-house things if you want to stay busy, and like especially the local pros, like they need cash. So like they'll do like small like local grappling shows, and like Fight to Win comes there a lot more. So when I came back here, I kind of realized like I got into jiu-jitsu, like traditional jiu-jitsu. I started going to Henzo Gracie, put on the gi, did all like everything the right way. Like I wanted to like actually learn jiu-jitsu, and I realized like, oh wow, like this is expensive. Like this has got to be my life. Like I have to give up a lot of things to like do this the right way. So, going to tournaments all the time, and like it just got expensive, and like I was not able to work overtime, which I got accustomed to. And on top of that, I'm paying for privates every weekend or doing this and that. And then like cross training over here. I'm going to Rhode Island for this. I got to just like test my skills with guys that don't know my game. And I got to go over here, and it just got exhausting. And I was like, wow, this is terrible. And then COVID happened, and there was just nothing. So like, that's what really motivated me. Was I was like, this is all we're going to do. Like, it's just Grappling Industries. Like you would talk to people and be like, this is unbelievable. Like we just can't compete. Like there's nothing. And guys are like, yeah, what can you do? And that was like the end of the conversation. I would get super aggravated. I was like, well, there's a lot we can do if like people get together, and people were just like, yeah, it's tough. And I was like, okay, I'm doing something about this. So like, I kind of just started sharing everybody's competition footage at first. And I was like, maybe I can do like an ESPN type thing where it'll like generate some buzz, and I can turn that into like a promotion. It wasn't really supposed to be a promotion. It was supposed to be more of like the world's coolest open mat. And it kind of turned into like a sub only thing real quick. And like, I kind of noticed like, oh, like people are really into this. Like local pros were like hitting me up. They're like, hey, hey, I'm trying to get on the card. Like I'm looking to get some work. Like there's nothing going on right now. So I kind of realized like, okay, like I'll just put in a little bit of effort, and it kind of just like kept going from there. Like I started with a really small, like brand New England Combat Sports. I would go to Grappling Industries and film people and just like tag them in the finishes and stuff, and just tell people like, hey, share your finishes. Like we want to highlight guys that are finishing people. But for me, what it was doing was I was saying like, okay, who's finishing fights? Like who do I want on these shows? So like it got to a point where I was like, okay, like, these guys are pretty good. This gym's pretty good. Like you kind of realize like real fast, like who the gyms are that are actually like doing it when you see like people sending you their finishes. So that was a big part of it. And it kind of just went from there. So I've done like a few opens. I did a smoker, mostly sub only stuff though.
Yeah.
So you got started with, I guess your brand was initially New England Combat Sports, right?
Right.
And then was it recently you guys made the change to Regional Combat Sports?
Right. Once we all kind of partnered together, it just kind of made sense. Like initially I had started, my plan was to go, okay, I'll put New England Combat Sports, and then we can branch out and go to Colorado. That because we were supposed to move to Colorado. So I was going to like, we'll just keep doing this like the MMA regions, and we'll try and grow it, and we'll have like a hub for like a national, like brand, so we can like host people's fights. And I realized like how stupid that model was very quickly. Like people just didn't want to deal with it. I wasn't going to be out west. It didn't make any sense. It was just like, just in my head, I was like, oh, this is what
individual state commissions,
Yeah,
it's just
it didn't make any sense.
It's like learning the process all over every single time when you're
right
in a different state.
In theory, I was like, oh, I can just apply this like big
just
picture.
copy the model, but then it changes by what region you go to.
And also like, I think what really helps too is like you need to kind of prove to an area you're going to like stay put for a little bit, and kind of like people don't want to like, I don't know, there used to be like a promotion like Dream FC or something like that. They did like one show, but like people like were super excited about it, but like they got there and they were like, I don't think this is gonna last. This is too much money. And like there's like so many promotions that do that. They just show up and like they just disappear. And like people don't really want to like commit to that because it's like they don't really know what to expect, and like they want to build a relationship with the promoter, and like it's better to just stay put in one area and focus on that instead of like trying to do all that. So we kind of just, let's just change everything. We'll call it regional combat sports, and just like, I don't know, it just seems more clean, more concise, more like clear with what we're trying to do. But it definitely helps to have like outside opinion too. Like we sat down and kind of just like, all right, let's make sense of all this, because it was like, like I said, it was supposed to just be like, oh, we'll just have a cool open mat, and it was like, wow, there's a huge demand for this, so like let's figure it out real quick. So, I mean, I appreciate the help from this guy because it's overwhelming.
Yeah, so we asked Mike kind of how he got involved. So what attracted you to him initially to get him involved in this venture?
His eyes. Honestly, like he just never missed a show. Like I was just doing this, and like I realized pretty quickly, like, wow, some people are here to just get a hand raise on camera. Some people are here to help out. Some people don't mind holding a camera. Some people are like I don't know, man. It was just like you do a couple shows and you realize like, wow, like this guy's willing to help set up a table. This guy's willing to do this. This guy's willing to do that. And like there's other guys that are like, when does my match start? Like I need to know now. And it's like, well, brother, there's 30 other people
when
here.
the match
It's
before
like,
you gets over.
Yeah, it's like, it's tough, man. There's 30 other people. Like we're trying to accommodate everybody. I'm trying to give you like, you know, you pay $30. Like you're trying to get everybody's photo done, get everybody a video, get all this stuff, trying to give everybody the same quality for like $30. And people are just like, you know, just not willing to play ball sometimes. So like Mike was the total opposite. Mike was like, my first event, he was plowing, right? He was like out in just around New England plowing. So like I had no idea who he was. He just hit me up and he was like, hey, I was looking for a match, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, dude, somebody pulled out. Perfect. So he was like, hey, can we like adjust it a little bit for me? I'm still plowing. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm going to try my best, man. And like, it was just the coolest thing in the world to me. I'm like, it was a snowstorm. This guy's like, he's making like God knows how much money right now. He stops to come do this match for me because like, just for the hell, I don't know, just like for the hell of it, because the cameras are here. Like, I don't know. It was just really cool. I was like, wow, this is really cool. There's a snowstorm going on and people still came out to support. So like, that was the main thing, was like everybody that showed up that day, I was like, oof, like you people are really committed to this. Like I should probably match your effort. Like that's insane to me. So
I want to know if, Mike, did you roll in like winter boots and a winter jacket, or
no?
Because that would have been badass.
No, I was in the no-gi.
You were prepared, yeah.
Kept his wool socks on.
yeah, he had a Carhartt, but a rashi.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It was actually nice and warm in that basement. You know, we had all the competitors in there and everything, and limited audience.
Yeah.
That was the main thing too. Was like we were setting everything up, and like there was a police officer that owned the gym or like works in the gym or something. So he's like in uniform and we're like setting up tables and stuff, and he's like walking in. It was like such an awkward, it was like that scene in The Town when like everybody's like got the money and they're like going into the car.
Oh yeah,
like the police officer, and he's like,
yep.
Yeah, that was exactly how it was. He just looked away. He's like, have fun, people. I'm out. Like,
Yep.
But that's in an undisclosed location.
Right.
Of course.
Far away.
So how many events have there been? We'll talk about the one coming up, but how many events under the RCS banner have there been so far?
Just one. We did an open in Derry, New Hampshire not too long ago. Yep. So yeah, just one.
Okay, cool.
So looking back at that one and then looking ahead to what you guys
we had a Boston Open, not under the RCS banner, but
yeah, it kind of counts. It was the same basic format. It was like we kind of used that for matchmaking on this one too. So
nice.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
So it's looking like a huge jump from the
yeah.
previous events to what you guys have coming up. Why don't you talk a little bit about kind of how you are making this explosion into like the professional promotion now with this one?
I mean, like, I think from my perspective, at least, like, I'll let Mike talk afterwards. I just kind of was like, you know, pros are going to show up if you have money. It's not difficult to get pros. Like and pros bring like a certain amount of eyes with them. But the thing is, like, to get a good, solid core blue belts and like purple belts and people, you know, are going to show up on weight, on time, be reliable. And like, not only that, but like, who's going to actually like help grow your brand? Who's going to sit there and like, oh, it was okay. And who's gonna be like, wow, that was a great experience. I just saved a bunch of money. They did a lot for me. Like, who actually appreciates the opportunity? So now that we have like a finite amount of matches and stuff, it was really easy to be like, okay, well, these are the guys that like we really can like count on to show up and do the right things. So to matchmake off of them, it was like, yeah, of course. Like we're gonna give the guys that show up like on weight, on time, and like put on a great performance. Like they're obviously gonna get like priority booking. Like why would you why would you not? So I mean, that was kind of the main thing, was we wanted to do the opens and be like, okay, well, we'll humbly do these. We'll see like who's committed, and then, you know, once we actually like invest in it, we'll have some guys that are worth investing in. It's not just like, because like now that we've done this, I have people from like I don't even know, like just out of state, just like they send me their resume and it's crazy. It's like, I'm a purple belt, I am undefeated, and I pass guard like no one else, and I am elite. I have 3,000 Instagram followers. I'm like, do you sell tickets? Like you know what I mean? It's like, that's like part of it. It's like, you're good to work with, like you're a nice guy, like you're gonna help out the blue belts, you're gonna teach somebody some things, like that's really it. It's like, it's more about the culture than anything. It's like, if you're just gonna show up and like get a hand raise and leave, it's like, I mean, you can do that anywhere, you know what I mean? Like I really want to like build something for like younger guys, because like when I was coming up, I had nothing, dude. People like were so rude to me, and they were just like, I was the guy in the wife beater, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to help out that guy, but like those are the guys that need help the most. So it frustrates me a little bit. So I think that's really like what I'm trying to do, is like get guys that need the opportunity, because like, I'm not gonna name names, but people have come up to me and been like, you know, I wanted to compete, I didn't have the money, so this is nice, $30, like I come out and like I get something. So it's like like that means the world to me. So to give guys like that the opportunity, it's like just comes full circle.
I love the concept behind that. You know, showcasing and building up the local talent, the up and comers. You know, it's not all about just getting the best black belt competitors to just come in and take the money and leave.
And that was something that was frustrating for me too. Like at a young age, like I did New Breed one time. I was all excited. I was like, you can win $1,000 here. Let's go. And like, I tell the story all the time, but like this kid comes up to me, he's like, Leandro Lowe is in your bracket. I'm like, who's that? And then I like realized, I was like, ooh, like I don't even have chest hair. Like I was like, I'm not
just coming to take the money.
But yeah, that was like a thing. I realized real quick. I was like, oh, this isn't for like just anybody. Like, and I was like, oh, do they have like a white belt one? And they're like, no, go home. Like it was just not like available. So
yeah, that's interesting. There's so many events, not even just like any kind of martial art event, right, where they are doing it to make the money, right? So it's refreshing to hear, not that you guys shouldn't be making money, don't get me wrong, right? But like, it's refreshing to hear that there's more to it than just that.
Yeah. Right? So, I always say money is like the necessary driving force, like, because you need, like, nobody cares if you don't have pros, you know what I mean? Like, you need to have like an attraction that brings, like, I always say you need an attraction, it brings like certain amount of eyes, and then you can build based off of that. But like, it's definitely not for the money. Like, I don't know, if you're involved in fighting for the money, like, you're crazy. Like there's 10 guys that should be, like, I'm not one of them, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So building off of, you know, the model of showcasing your up and coming, like blue and purple belts, the regional guys, you did pull a couple of pretty big names into this upcoming event. So how did some of that come to fruition?
I don't even know. I mean, like,
so we have, I guess, for the people that aren't familiar, on the upcoming event, you have Mason Fowler as your main event.
Yeah.
You know, for the people that don't know Mason, you know, he's basically the guy for Submission Underground. He's main eventing most of their events. Just got his black belt after winning Brown Belt Worlds. So, yeah, to me, it's a big deal seeing him coming out to New England and
I mean, he was
participating.
He was kind of the way I looked at it was like, who's the Hulk Hogan of sub only? Like, who's the guy that's like, if anybody's going to cross over into the mainstream, who's somebody that like, oh yeah, I kind of might have seen that guy, like specifically for sub only too. You know what I mean? Like, obviously for jiu-jitsu, it would be like Gordon Ryan, but for sub only, Mason is the guy. So,
and everybody likes him too.
Yeah, he's just a nice, humble guy too. So like a couple of years ago, like, well, actually pre-ADCC, I reached out to him and I was like, I just knew who he was from like around. I was like, oh, I've seen this guy before. I was like, hey, good luck. And he won. And I was like, oh, snap. And like, he hit me back afterwards and was like, just like, hey, thanks, man. I was like, oh, that's cool. So then like he ended up following the account and just out of left field. And I was like, want to do a match? And he was about it. We had the money. So just made it happen. But it was just that simple. To get the pros is not difficult. Like, this is what they do. You know what I mean? It's like, we got a job for you. Like,
it's true.
Good point. Yep.
So then how did Chris Shahgholi get the lucky spot?
I needed somebody that could actually hold down the spot first and foremost. And then it was
that was the biggest concern when he brought it to me. Was who are we gonna find that's gonna survive? You know, that's not just gonna look like another guy.
Plus, like, I mean, Chris has like demonstrated, one, he's like willing to take matches with anybody. Like, he's done some pretty crazy stuff in the last year, and like, I don't know, it's just like the fact that he's he like represents everything that we stand for. I feel like he's training with the lower belts. He's doing all the right things. He's super humble. He's like just a nice guy. Like, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like Chris is the guy. And like, on top of it, like, I think he can legitimately, like, after watching him train, I'm like, I've never really seen him do his thing. Like, I've only seen him compete. And like, you obviously bring like a certain game and you're conservative and like you do certain things, but like to watch him train and just do certain things, like I was blown away. I was like, wow, this guy's like, the way I describe it was like watching him train was like watching somebody multiple times just thread a needle, just one shot, like just boop, boop. I was like, that's insane to me. Like, I've never seen anybody do that. So like, yeah, good call, Mike.
And so I think kind of as we all got started, Chris quit his job and was just at the height of the pandemic, I'm going to be a professional grappler. And yeah, he rode that momentum, and you know, we've kind of been riding it with him. And as soon, like, he didn't immediately come to mind, but as soon as Nick said his name, we were just like, yeah, that's it. Nice. That's it. Who's going to be able to match him, no gi? And yeah, Chris was the guy.
Yeah, Chris and those 10th Planet Long Island guys, they're just always game to hop in the car and take a drive to
drive 6 hours and for a match. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then they'll turn around and go right back home to teach 6 a.m. class tomorrow.
I was going to say, he told us he had 6 a.m. class and drove up. Yeah.
That's the thing too. But like for the past, so that kind of, it's another thing too. Like for me personally, like that's what I was doing. Like for the past, you know, pre-pandemic, like that's how I would train. Is like I would go all over. Like I would do absolutely everything I could in my power to get as good as possible. And like I would always see those guys. You know what I mean? Like they're hard to miss. Chris has bleach blonde hair and he's in a rubber bones rash guard. It's like, hey buddy, like you can't miss them. So it's like, and they roll super deep too. So like that was the thing too. You see the same faces and it's like, right, these guys are really about it. Like that's like that, you know, that's comforting for me that I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to spend this money and invest in flying this guy out here in a hotel and like doing all these things, it's like, who's going to show up and actually like do the thing? And it's like, well, those guys are super down. So like, that was kind of who we based our card around, was like, you know, you guys have done the work. Like, let's give them a
time to showcase.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So looking down the card, I see all the 10th Planet Long Island connections, and then I'm guessing Mason was your nexus for some of the other Coyoterra guys that are coming out.
Right. He's immediately suggested Mikey Rolls, and I was like, I was a little hesitant at first. I was like, who am I really gonna give him a competitive match with? And then I thought he was actually much bigger than he was. I thought he was like closer to like 190.
Yeah, he looks big.
He competes up a lot, but yeah, he's not that big.
Well, that was the thing. Like Mason was like, no, he can probably make 55, and I was like, skirt, Ace the Grappler. So like that was,
because he did CJJ at middleweight, I think, in that last one.
So like, I mean, Ace is a pretty big welterweight, but still, it's like I don't think he's making 85. So like to actually like see them together, I did my homework on them a little bit.
I think they're pretty similar in size.
Yeah, I think so too. So like after seeing that, now I'm really excited for that one, because it's like they both I don't know, they both bring it. That's kind of the main thing, is like they get right in each other's faces, and like I don't know, it's just
they have a little attitude to them.
Who's reffing that one
on the match?
Brave soul. I don't know. Paying them good money, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, we got two good IBJJF refs, so a little change of pace for them. Being sub only, it should be a pretty easy night for them, but we're bringing them in. We want it legit and official.
Nice. Yeah, biggest job for them is the just resets on the edge of the map.
Yeah,
that's what the refs always say too. They're like, oh, sub only's easy. It's an easy day.
Yeah, until it's not, right?
Yeah, until they're rolling out of bounds with some, you know, intricate position, and neither guy's happy with the reset.
Yeah,
or they don't
coaches yelling at you.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, like at the end of the day, like you gotta treat it for what it is. Like it's not a fight. Like we gotta like, this is a great time for this. Like submission only is like the game of jiu-jitsu, right? Like we can kind of agree it's like the sport of, like if it was going to be like a sport, that's how it would be done. So I mean, like you don't see, I mean, like you do occasionally, but like you don't see guys like throwing a temper tantrum in Derry and like kicking the ball because like they lost their basketball game. You know what I mean? But like guys have that attitude with jiu-jitsu, and it's so crazy. And it's like I just truly don't understand it. It's like the whole goal is to improve, right? Like that's why you do it, is to like be the best possible version of yourself, like every single day. So like I don't know, when guys do that, I just don't understand it. Like this is my day, my time. It's like, dude, there's gonna be another one.
Apparently it's not. So
I tell our guys a lot. You know, I've never been like super pumped after a win or super pissed after a loss. It's just like you've got a chance to go out and compete and test my skills. It is what it is.
I think like, you get more like, I don't know. if you have a hard camp, like once you complete the camp, that's when you're like, I did it. Like I did it. I did the work. Like it was hard for me to do this, but I did it. Like,
if you lose to somebody just because they were better than you, there's no reason to get pissed about that.
Right. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've been mad at myself. Right. But it's never for like lack of skill or preparation. Like I've told the story before, but like having a match and being like realizing after the fact, like shit, I wasn't present for that at all. Right. Like I shortchanged myself. I worked my ass off for 8 weeks up to that match. Got my ass kicked because I wasn't like focused during the match or whatever. I think and I was more mad at that, right, than anything else. Like
we've all had those matches where you just didn't perform to what you hoped to.
Yeah, I mean that happens.
I'm not going to run over and kick over the trash can.
No, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Please don't throw your mouth guard. That's disgusting.
Right.
Oh, that's the worst.
That is the worst, dude.
So what, in your guys' opinion, like what makes for a good grappling event? Or a good MMA event, like whatever.
I don't know. You want to figure that out for us and let us know like exactly what we got to do?
We're taking notes so that we start our own promotion.
That's kind of how it's been, yeah.
I think the lead up is important. Like you need a certain amount of anticipation for the event. So like it's nice to like give guys a little bit of surprise. Like once they start seeing the match cards come out, they're like, who's next? Who's next? Who's next? I mean, it's not ideal for like it's frustrating knowing everything I know about like how to grow a social media account. It's like, this is not the correct way, but like for the MMA community, it's like they truly enjoy it. So like, I think that's part of it is like just building a little bit of anticipation and like getting guys excited about it before it even happens. So it's like, if you were going to design a roller coaster, I'm assuming you would want like a nice like lead up, and then you want like a big drop, and then you kind of want to take them through like this whole experience. So like by the end of the ride, they're satisfied. And I think that's part of it too, is like strategically placing the matches is key. Like I don't know, like there's certain matches you can kind of be like, no offense, but you'll be like, okay, this might not be the most exciting one of the night. Like we'll put that like right after a really, really exciting one so people can, okay, let me go get a popcorn and go to the bathroom. That was crazy. Like I need to take a break. So I think that's part of it too, is like when you see like the UFC book a card and it's like, it's too hot, like by the end of the night, you're exhausted. You're like, you'll see like a crazy fight. People are just sitting on their hands, like they're desensitized to it at that point. So I think that's part of it, is kind of just taking them on a ride and making sure it's like, as long as it's something that I would want to see, I usually think it's okay. But I mean, that's kind of the name of the game, right? Like, I hope you like it. Like it's subjective. It's super subjective.
Yeah. I think the relationships, especially with jiu-jitsu, the relationships with the local gyms, also you're really important to put on a good show, because you need those, exciting, hungry blue belts, purple belts that aren't big names yet, but that are willing to come out here, put it all on the line, battle, and
yeah, absolutely
make a name for themselves, really. So and the best way to find those guys and work with those guys is working with the gyms.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So now to actually save that question for a few minutes. Looking ahead at fight night, or I guess fight day on this next event, I'm sure it's going to be insane for you guys, but the two of you and I guess any of the rest of your team, do you delineate who's doing what all day long, or is it just like madness? Everyone fills in wherever they can.
We try and have a plan. You know what I mean? It's like there's always stuff that falls through the cracks and nobody anticipated, and this guy's late, and this guy's mom wants a free ticket, and the camera went down, and this battery's broken, and like there's always chaos. But I mean, for the most part, we once we get like, what would you say, like a quarter of the way through the event, it kind of just
get that wheel in motion.
Yeah, that's the toughest part, is getting started. But once you get the momentum, it's like everybody just kind of, it's so weird. There's not much conversation. It's kind of just like eye contact and thumbs ups, and it's very strange.
I've organized just enough invitational events to have a strong appreciation for all of that, and to also recognize that's not really what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I mean,
dealing with the venue, the door.
Yeah. Shout out to the.
There's a lot of unseen, unwritten stuff behind the scenes that you don't even realize. Me
as being overweight.
Me as just a competitor. I had no idea. And then I'm like, yeah, sure, Nick, I'll help you out. Like, this can't be that hard. And
so easy, Nick can do it.
And then it's like, oh my gosh, wow. Like, how are you doing this alone?
I remember the first event I got involved in. We were the same thing. Like 2 of us partnered up, and we had no idea what we were doing, but we just rented a really sweet venue, found some good competitors, and like just dealing with the morning of like people showing up overweight, this problem, that problem. Mm-hmm. I remember I reffed all the matches because I just didn't trust anyone else to be doing the EBI rules at the time. So you feel kind of helpless when you're up on the stage reffing because you can't communicate with anybody else out there. And we had Mateus Lutez in that event. He's at Marsello's now, but he was with Unity at the time. And he was like the second match of the day. And that match is going on. I'm reffing. And then I see what looks like a little kid come running up the aisle in a soccer jersey. And I forget if it was Joao or Paulo, but one of the Miat was there to coach him, was running late and just got like ushered up through the crowd to the stage at the last minute. And like, he didn't have a ticket. They had like the wrong coach's name at the door.
Yeah.
And you're just on stage, like in the middle of a match.
Dealing with like, I don't know what it is, but dealing with jiu-jitsu guys versus MMA guys, I feel like the MMA guys, the strikers, kind of take things a little more professional. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know, you don't seem to have those problems with them and weight and knowing when their fight is. I think just you take it a lot more serious when you get knocked out, right? So. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of like, if you've seen the way a gi class starts, it's like purple belt's missing warm-ups, and guys are like, oh, professor, how are you? And there's hugs and stuff.
Professor shows up late.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, sometimes it's like the highest-ranking guy's like, all right, I guess we warm up now. You know what I mean? Like, it's so casual until it's not. And that's the issue with, like, with jiu-jitsu in general sometimes is, like, guys are like, oh, it's whatever. And then the day of, they're like, they're super hyper-focused and fixated, and I'm like, whoa, like, okay, like, so, I mean, like you said, professional MMA fighters, or even just MMA fighters in general, tend to be a little bit easier to work with just because they're like, whatever, dude. I'm just here to show up and do my thing. It's more of a job.
Some of those promotions have been around for a long time, too, right? Like Cage Titans and some of these other ones, right, where they're just used to, like, there's a certain expectation there maybe when they're going. I think, obviously, some of these things will be, as you guys keep going, these other local promotions are going, hopefully it gets to that same level, right, where they know there's a certain expectation.
Setting expectations is huge, definitely.
The media is completely foreign to them, too. You know what I mean? Like, even, like, doing the smoker, like, a lot of the kickboxers, like, they kind of know it's like, all right, well, this is part of the job. Is like, I'm ready to fight, and I'm a good guy, and whoever they give me. Like, you know what I mean? They know at least that's mandatory. But, like, jiu-jitsu guys are like, wait, what? Like, what do you want me to say? What do I do with my hand? It's like Ricky Bobby, you know what I mean? They're just like, the number one, actually, this is a great forum too. Like, I was just saying today, like, I'll tell guys, it's like, like, we're going to take 2 pictures. One's going to be like a headshot for like our purposes, and another one, like, pose. It's what we're going to use for the photography, or like the actual broadcast. And every time everybody's just standing there, like, with their pitchfork. Like, it's so tough. It's like, guys, like, you can just a little bit of
have some personality,
just a little bit, but it's like, it's new to them. You know what I mean? Like, in jiu-jitsu, they're like, everybody wears the same thing, and we put on the belt and we bow, and we, you don't want to disrespect, and like, you want to honor your academy, and like, you just kind of toe the line a little bit. So it's like, it's a weird place to be in, where we're like, okay, like, we're trying to provide some entertainment because, like, we do want to sell tickets so you guys can compete for free. Like, so we need to be entertaining. Like, you guys can't just come out here and, double guard pulls, and, that's not exciting. But like, on the same note, it's like, we don't want to make you like do anything you're uncomfortable with, or like, like your professor's going to be upset with. But it's like, I loved what Mark Ferriola did. It was like, it was tactful. It was like, we're going to have a match. It's like, let's see if you pull guard. Like, don't pull guard. Let's wrestle. Let's see who's about it. It's like nobody can be upset with that. It's like, let's see whose skills are better. It's like, well, you're going to have a match, so we're going to see whose skills are better. It's not like, I'll kick his ass in the parking lot. Like, no, you won't. Stop.
Yeah. Give us the details of the event.
So it's Saturday, January 22nd at Michael's Function Hall in Haverhill. Doors open at 6. Main card probably should start at like 8 or 9 or so, give or take.
I'd say 8 or 9.
8 or 9. There's gonna be food at around 7 or so. So when you show up, it'll probably be a little more casual, a lot more like people up on their feet, grabbing drinks, walking around, meet and greet. Because that's typically what happens at these things too, is people want to like shake hands, and it's like people they only see at the tournaments. So like, we're going to do like the lower ranking matches for that, and then we'll kind of like get people seated and kind of turn it into more of an event. So we're going to accommodate more matches, and we'll definitely make sure at weigh-ins guys know when their match starts, so you can tell your aunties and uncles and everybody, nobody misses your match, and everybody will be good to go. But Yeah, I think that's going to be the best way to do it too, especially if there's any regulations that come through. We can just kind of funnel people through in and out a lot easier, and it'll be a good way to go. But I'm
full bar too.
Yeah, full bar. I'm excited for the main card. I can't get over how many people are on this thing. It's absolutely crazy to see it come together. But
and if people can't make it to the event,
if you can't make it to the event, you're missing out. But
you're SOL.
Yeah, you're missing out. But typically, there's always a live stream and a broadcast. We're not doing that. We're doing post-recorded matches, so we can do a lot of production value to them. But we're also going to do like a little bit of a documentary style, so it's more of like a production, more of like a feature film production, I guess I would say. So there's no way you can do that live. It's going to be more of like a all-encompassing video at the end. So you're going to get a lot of value. So it's $20 if you order now. If you pre-order now, it's $15.99. So save some money. But that's actually going to help a lot of guys out. So we're giving pay-per-view points to a lot of the fighters. So it's not just like, oh, we're making all the money off this. That's like how a lot of guys are going to get paid. So we're going to put some production value into it, and it like gives us incentive to do it, so we make our costs back. But the main thing is those guys are going to get paid. So definitely help out your local pros. Download it, pre-order it now. So do your thing.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. That's a great way to handle it.
Yeah, and all the fighters are going to be able to live stream their own matches. So, you know, if obviously you got a fighter you want to watch, you follow on Instagram, keep an eye out on their live, and I'm sure they'll probably 90% of them will be going live for their matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually try and put tripods near the coaches' stands anyways, because, I mean, like, everybody wants to see what they did immediately. Like, you want to watch your mistakes, but then afterwards, like, it's kind of nice to be like, yo, check me out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like part of it too, is to like sit down your family and make them watch your stuff.
You know, when the tail of the tape comes up, it's got your stats, your height, your weight, you know, where you're fighting out of, you know, that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. That's stuff that's so hard to do if you're trying to do it live.
Right.
Definitely
you guys know.
Definitely go to regionalcombatsports.com. Check that out. Shameless plug.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to get to the plug for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You want to ask the standard questions?
Yeah. We'll get to the most important one. You guys probably have actual questions. So we usually ask jiu-jitsu guys if they were to have a walkout for a match or a fight, what would their walkout song be? Have you had one or have a theoretical?
I just had "Bad to the Bone" by George Thorogood at my last match. So yeah, we'll go with that one. It's good. I'm putting together all the walkout songs right now, and I tell guys it's got to hit, it's got to bump within the first 30, 45 seconds.
Can't be standing there for 2 minutes waiting for it to build up.
We can't be waiting for the beat to drop. So as long as it's got to drop, it's got to bump in the first like 45 seconds.
Dude, you have a missed opportunity. How are you not using the lumberjack song? Do you know what song I'm talking about?
Which one's that?
It immediately starts out with a chainsaw.
Yeah, it starts off with a chainsaw, dude.
Yeah, I guess I got to do that one next.
I forget who sings it. It's like
it's like AC/DC or something.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not even anybody that good. It's I'll look it up and send it to you. I can't remember off the top of my head.
You can have a walkout song for your announcing.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too. You guys should get some walkout music. Like the starting five for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and your staff for tonight.
Right. What have you used?
What have I? I used to use a lot of like really, really trashy, ignorant rap music when I was younger, but now I'd probably do Gary Clark Jr. Come Together. But
oh yeah, good jam.
Yeah, I got knocked out when I walked out to T.I. Hurt, put him in the dirt, and I got knocked out. So yeah, never again.
That one again.
Never again.
That's awesome.
That kid planked me too. It was so ironic too. I was like, oof.
We have
That's good to know. In case you have anything in the future, I want to put some audio too.
It's like when guys come out to stranglehold and they get choked out. It's like, oh no, dude. No.
Yeah.
Happened to Joe Benavides. It's tough.
We have been putting together a Thanks for Rolling podcast playlist on Spotify.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's got everybody's
Walkout
all the guest
songs.
tracks. Yep.
Hey,
so it's pretty cool. You can find, if you look for me on Spotify, you can find that playlist.
Absolutely.
Another plug.
Yeah, now I'm interested.
Yeah. Right, I got to go follow that.
Yeah. So we'll add your stuff on there.
Go download Spotify.
Yeah, right. right. What about when people ask you what you do? Not the day jobs, but the other half of things. Like, what do you tell them?
I like to say I'm the executive producer. We're still kind of transitioning because it is pretty new, but like trying to get Mike to be completely like on his own, running the fighting, like contracts, all that stuff. Caitlin's more of like talent relations. So if you're flying out, you need a hotel, all that stuff. She's handing out contracts. She's sending out deal memos. Like, hey, this is what we can offer you. If you're interested, send it back. If not, you know, what can we do to make it work?
And she's hiding off camera right now.
Yeah. She's in charge of all of our books. She's the reason it works. Like, I have no financial sense whatsoever. I just do stuff. I'm like, can we do this? And she's like, hang on. Yeah, we can make that happen. Like, she's a miracle worker. So she does all the behind the scenes stuff that makes us look good. But I kind of do the production. Caitlin's the accountant, and Mike is everything else we need.
Big fight Mike.
I think I've
everything
done about every role. I've been behind cameras, commentating, announcing, competing.
Everything.
So now, I mean, I've just considered myself the matchmaker, kind of the grappling guy. Nick has a very strong striking background. So it works well because I have, you know, a stronger grappling background. So cool. I think that's really where it kind of fits in.
Definitely tough to be a white belt and being like, dude, you just got to do this, man. I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm telling you, this is going to be good for you. Like, it's like,
it helps to command a group of grapplers, a room of grapplers when you're not a white belt.
Right. Yes. People tend to think like martial arts proficiency like equates to everything else in life. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you can't possibly produce a good show as a white belt. It's like, I've been doing this for 15 years, man. Like, I've been 1,000. You know how much money I've spent to go to CES? Like, I should have stock in CES at this point. It's like, just, I don't know, man. It's just crazy. Like, to see that, it's like, just, it definitely helps to have somebody that's like, well, he's a pro bowler. He knows the rules.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Yep, that's funny. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
All right.
Ready to wrap it up?
Yeah.
You guys want to give your plugs? Where can people find you?
Oh, man. I'm at Big Fight Mike. Anything RCS related, you can find me there.
Definitely follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram at RCS Promotions. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. RCS Promotions. There's a lot of free content on there. We're going to put the prelims and the undercard, that the featured matches that actually get filmed are going to be on YouTube. So we're going to do that. Not everybody's getting filmed, unfortunately. We have too many matches to accommodate, but we're going to try and do the guys that have kind of supported us the whole way through. We're going to make sure we get their matches filmed and all that stuff. So definitely subscribe to YouTube if you don't want to pay, but regionalcombatsports.com/ticks for tickets, and click the watch tab. Definitely subscribe. It helps out a lot of the pro fighters. So definitely subscribe and get the pay-per-view.
And Tex Johnson is coming to town for our grand opening. We're opening up an arena in Providence, and Tex is coming in, February 19th? Yes, February 19th. So he's doing a seminar with us. We're going to have him. Maybe we'll bring this axe and see if he can break it.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're going to bring him some baseball bats and have him breaking some stuff. So
knee slice seminar and leg entries from the knee slice. So definitely check that out. It's going to be a good time. Great
Very
value.
cool.
$50 a head. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, guys, first of all, good luck on the 22nd. Obviously, we'll see you there.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Good luck to us.
Good luck to us. Yeah, I think good luck to us on the 22nd. Yep. We're looking forward to it. And we're pretty excited about what you guys have going on. And thank you for coming out.
Of course.
And
if this works out, we can get you guys like a crown and a cowboy hat. You can be like our Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that'd be really
amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know if you have a crown, but I can come with a cowboy hat.
Okay, I'll find a crown. If you're going to wear a cowboy hat, I'll find a crown.
Cowboy hats are like, it's the in thing now in jiu-jitsu. Everyone's rocking them. So.
Super in.
Yeah.
I have an idea for a side business where it's like you get a white belt and a black belt, and the white belt has to maintain mount or rear mount on the black belt for 7 seconds. It's like rodeo, but jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to work on that a little bit.
That's pretty good. I like that.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's a good way to highlight lower belts with higher belts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. Good
Low
idea.
expectations.
Yep, I like it. Yep. 7 seconds. Oof.
7 seconds.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right.
I like it, man. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Take care. We'll see you soon.